Iranian terror regime from holding the world hostage. That's really what it is. And 27 days ago, Iran had a modern military. Never in recorded history has a nation's military been so quickly and effectively neutralized. Operation Epic Fury is not an endless war. It's a decisive campaign with clear objectives to destroy Iran's offensive military capabilities and ensure they never obtain a nuclear weapon. This is stuff for the history books. This is stuff for legacy. Mr. President, you are acting now to ensure future generations do not have to live under the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran. However, you wouldn't know it if you listened to the dishonest hate Trump media, as you referenced. The folks here in the room, these cameras, they have a choice. You're either informing the American people of the truth or you're not. Because I hear it from my people every day. Behind every headline you write, there's a helicopter crew in the air. And behind every news banner you write, there's a battalion on the move. And behind every fake news story, there's an F-35 pilot executing a dangerous mission. My message to the media is get it right. This actually isn't something new to me. I may be a young guy, Mr. President, but I'm not a rookie in this realm. In 2007, I helped lead the surge, the public fight for the Iraq surge. Stood and watched people stand in the Senate and declare the war is lost before it even started. Who was that? It was Harry Reid. That was the Democrats and the media working hand in glove. Back then, it was 3 years into a war. Now we're 3 weeks into an operation. But see, unlike Iraq, this isn't a tie. This is not parody. This is not chaos. This is success, pure American success, on plan, and as the president said, ahead of pace. Over 10,000 enemy targets destroyed, over 140, I think now you're right, Mr. President, over 150 naval vessels sunk, underground facilities destroyed, their defense industrial base in shambles, and overnight, not only do they not have a Navy, Mr. President, they no longer have a Navy commander. IRGC's Navy commander was killed overnight in operation. So no Navy leader. Now that here's the thing about the media, though. If President Trump had not acted, you'd be screaming, why not? And now that he has taken decisive action, you're asking, well, why did you? It's the same old tired playbook, TDS in your DNA. But the hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic Americans out there know better. And you alluded to this, President Obama, Mr. President. Here's a fact that you don't hear on your networks, but we know. Many of the Iranian military factories and bases that we're systematically destroying were paid for by the pallets of American cash that Barack Obama flew into Tehran under the Iran deal. You might call it an inconvenient truth. Iran took our money and turned it into weapons and bunkers and ammo. And now we're destroying those weapons, and you're writing, Mr. President, that grievous wrong. And make no mistake, we had to act. And our objectives are clear. No nukes, no Navy, and a complete dismantling of their missile program and defense industrial base. And as Marco pointed out, that mission, and the VP as well, has not changed since day one. Yet, 2 days ago, they shot 2 failed missiles on a target 4,000 kilometers away. For years, they told the world that their missiles could only range 2 kilometers. Surprise. Yet again, Iran lied. And to the world, I say London is 4,000 kilometers from Iran. Washington, D.C. is 3,300 kilometers from Venezuela, another country President Trump did something about that partnered for a long time with Iran. So you're telling us that Iran is not a threat to the world or to the U.S. President Trump knows better. And here's what success actually looks like right now. You mentioned it, Mr. President. A-10 Warthogs, if you know them, you love them, and Apache helicopter gunships are flying strike missions inside Iranian airspace and throughout the Strait of Hormuz at will. See, you only send these slow, low-flying, close air support platforms when the enemy has no meaningful air defenses left. Their presence is proof that Iran's air defenses are gone. Their command and control is shattered, their top leaders hiding in underground bunkers, while their mid-level commanders are being crushed in the field. The morale of their fighters plummeting, and we see that disconnect daily. They're privately admitting, as you said, Mr. President, very heavy losses. We know that. President Trump has given us a clear mission. Our capabilities are only going up and Iran's are plummeting. We are here to win, and we're full speed ahead. So, Steve, we appreciate your efforts. President Trump has given us a clear mission. Our capabilities are only going up and Iran's are plummeting. We are here to win, and we're full speed ahead. So, Steve, we appreciate your efforts. We pray for a deal, and we welcome a deal, and we have the ultimate deal maker to make it happen. But in the meantime, as I said yesterday, the Department of War will continue negotiating with bombs. War is negotiation by other means. And finally, I want to thank our incredible troops, our pilots, crews, sailors, refuelers, air defenders, the absolute best of America, the real 1% of our country. This president, President Trump, has your back. And I know this cabinet prays for you every single day. And we ask the American people to do the same as they continue in this mission. God bless. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much. It's great. I think before I ask Scott to say a couple of words, it would be great if people like the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois would say, please come in and stop the crime. A beautiful young lady was killed the other day, and the father was a very good friend of Dan Scavino. And he took it very hard. Dan took it very hard, like the father, friends. They grew up together. And it's a young lady whose life would be saved if we did what we did as an example in Washington, D.C., which is now a safe city. All the time, people come up to me in the building, people that work here, they say, thank you so much. I know immediately what they're talking about. They're able to walk to work. They walk to work. You all walk to work. Some of you were mugged. I know you told me stories. Some of you were mugged. One person in particular was viciously mugged in the group right here. It's not happening anymore. You have a safe city. Louisiana, the governor of Louisiana called me, can you help me with New Orleans? They just had the Mardi Gras. He said it was the safest Mardi Gras we've ever had. Sounds terrible to say. No murders. You know, it sounds like, who would say this? No murders. But they always had murders. They had a lot of crime during Mardi Gras. He said virtually no crime. We had the troops down there. Memphis, Tennessee, I just got back. We were there. Crime is down 75%. In a short period of time, we're there 5 months. We could do that for Chicago. We could do that for New York. We could do that for L.A. And we could do that for, frankly, San Francisco. I know they have a mayor who's trying very hard. He's a Democrat, but he's trying very hard. But we can do it much more effectively because he can't do what we do. He can't take people out from the city and bring them back to the country from where they came, where they were in prisons. They were allowed to go in prisons. There were drug dealers, the highest level drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murders. We do things that they can't do. I had friends calling me up from San Francisco. Could you give him a chance? I said, absolutely. If you want, we'll give him a chance. And he's trying. He's doing okay, but we could do much better. We could make it a lot safer than it is. San Francisco, a great city, was a great city, could quickly become a great city again. But, you know, they're going very slowly. I tell my friends they're very substantial people. They're in a certain business where people have made a lot of money. I hope that lasts. But they have a tremendous potential. It was one of the greatest cities in the world. Now it's got a lot of crime. And the mayor is really trying. Again, a Democrat trying. And I spoke to him. He just wants to have a chance. And I said, we'll give you a chance. But we can solve it very quickly. This young lady would be around today if we were around, because we have nobody coming through our border. I mean, literally for 9 months, it's zero. It's hard to believe that number can be possible because millions of people came in through Biden. But nobody even tries. We don't have the caravans of thousands, 25, 30,000 people pouring into our border. They come up in caravans. We don't have caravans anymore. There's no such thing anymore. It's a name that I think I developed, but somebody developed it, but I think it was me. I thought it was an appropriate name. Thousands of people would come up and just barge into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And this man came in, Dan, right? And he came in through the ridiculous open border of Biden. If we were there, the election was rigged. What are you going to do? Came back, big comeback. But if we were there, we wouldn't have had people coming through. It's amazing. You know, it's so easy now because everyone knows they're not getting through. We don't have any caravans. Once they know that, when it was easy to come through. When I heard that they had an open border policy, I said, boy, this is going to be, I couldn't believe it. But when it was actually, you know, it dawned on me because I had built 1,000 miles of wall and we were finishing up some and he didn't want to finish it up. I said, they really do want to have an open border. And we got it finished. But that young lady would be alive today. And she'd be alive for another reason, because we would have the National Guard in Chicago and in New York and in other places. And they love doing it. It's like training, to be honest. It's actually training. I never want to take them out of D.C. I mean, maybe somebody later on will do it, but I never want to take. You know, the people, they look, they say, we feel so good, we feel so safe. We see these beautiful, strong people, and they're so nice. They help. They open the doors for people. They carry bags. They pick up paper when they see paper on the ground. I looked at D.C. last night. I drove to make a speech, and I drove through, and I said, take me this way, take me that way. The city's clean. The fences are down. You don't have homeless all over your parks. I mean, we had parks. There was no room for anything else other than homeless. It's all clean and nice. And it'll be even more beautiful in a year from now. And we have some projects that are great. This ballroom is going to be something that's so beautiful for the city, so desperately needed by presidents. I mean, now it's no secret the military wanted it more than anybody. It was supposed to be secret, but it became unsecret because of people that are really unpatriotic saying things. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's going to be great. We're building an arc, a triumphal arc, which will be incredible for the city. Incredible. We're fixing up what was the Kennedy Center. You know, I was honored when the board changed the name a little bit. Actually, it shows that the Republican and the Democrats, they work together. It's really something we work together. I think it's a great symbol, actually. But we're doing a lot of work. That building's ready to fall down. It's in terrible shape. We're closing it. We're going to open it with a bang in less than 2 years. It'll come in under budget, ahead of schedule. That's what I do. It won't be like the Federal Reserve that's costing $4 billion or something thereabouts. Think of it, $4 billion. You know, it's amazing. I said to the group before, I said, everything I do, I get sued. I build under budget, ahead of schedule. I get sued over a ballroom that's going to be the most beautiful ballroom in the country, so desperately needed. You won't have to have tents sitting on the wet White House lawn. If it rains, you get wiped out, to honor the president of China or the president of France or the president of somewhere. You can have the greatest. We get sued by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. They don't know what they're doing. Then I just found out we got sued by that group and another group, I guess, on the fixing up of again, I'll use the old name, Kennedy Center, because they're not fixing up Trump Kennedy. It's going to be beautiful when you add the name Trump. But we got sued. And all I'm doing is fixing it up. We're fixing broken marble. We're putting on a roof because it leaks like a sieve. We're fixing steel that's broken. It's the same building, same exact building. We're fixing it. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so beautiful and safe. It's actually unsafe. You had some of those columns on the outside that were painted a fake gold. Now we painted them a beautiful white color, beautiful cream white. It's beautiful. Everyone said it's so much more beautiful now. Instead of a cheap, you can't imitate gold. See, I'm a gold person. It's all real stuff. You can't imitate it. Someday they'll discover a paint that will look like gold, and the guy's going to be the richest man in the world. But you can't imitate real gold. It just doesn't. That's 24 karat. Which is what this building deserves. But think of it. I get sued because I'm fixing up the Trump Kennedy Center. We're going to make it gorgeous and safe. We're fixing new windows, new this, but just all fix them. I got sued by preservationists. But you know who they didn't sue? The man that took this beautiful Federal Reserve building. That's small, much smaller than the hotel I built. I built the Waldorf Astoria Hotel down the road. And it was a beautiful job for $201 million. It's bigger, I think, than the Federal Reserve building. And it's got rooms and bathrooms, and it's not like just an open office space, which is much cheaper to build. Think of this. I hear he's going to be over $4 billion for a little building. He doesn't get sued by anybody but me. I sue because it's either somebody's very crooked, which has to be, because what happened to all that money? You can't sue. I would have done that building for $25 million. It's going to cost maybe $4 billion, and we have a great new person coming in to take over the Fed. And Kevin may not ever have an office, because I don't know if they're going to be able to build. I passed that building the other day. It's a see-through. You know what see-through means? There's no walls up. And they're going to spend. But the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which is a joke, by the way, they didn't sue that building. They didn't sue anybody. But they sued me, and I build. And by the way, my buildings, it's all donations. Rich people and people are putting up the money. Zero taxpayer dollars. Is that right, Scott?
Yes, sir.
Zero taxpayer dollars. This stuff is all done for free, and I get sued. This could only happen to Trump. But they don't sue the guy whose interest rates are too high. That's why we call him Too Late. His name is Jerome Powell. We call him Jerome Too Late Powell. And done a terrible job. He suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, as he probably should, because I hit him pretty hard. But so I don't blame him. But they don't sue a man who has taken this gorgeous building, ripped it down from the inside, taking ceilings that are as beautiful as you've ever seen, taking the ceilings down instead of leaving them, replacing them with 6-inch walls with no insulation. I said, let me ask you, are you going to put insulation in? No, it's not in the budget. Oh. Insulation costs $5. Now you're going to hear the guy next door. If he's next door to me, I'll be able to hear his military plan. I'll know exactly. If Lutnick is in there, I'll say, oh, I know exactly what Lutnick's got planned. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. They've ripped this gorgeous building apart, and you can never build it again. I could, but it costs a lot of money. But a normal person can never build. So you're going to have crummy little walls, a flat little ceiling eventually, but right now you don't have anything. And nobody sues this guy. And then when Jeanine Pirro, working with Pam and others, has the courage to sue to find out what happened to maybe $4 billion and a building that may never be occupied by Kevin Warsh. He may never get there. We're going to have to find him some space in the White House. We'll put him in the basement of the ballroom. But when, now think of it, when Jeanine Pirro and Pam and the group, when they bring a suit, it's like, oh, this terrible thing. And then we have a judge that attacks us. So we've got to get our priorities straight, you know. It's a very sad thing that's happened with the Fed. And then just one other thing very quickly, you have Gavin Newsom in California Railroad. That's 100 times over budget. It's out of control. It was supposed to go from the middle of San Francisco to the middle of LA. Well, now it stops way short of both. It now goes into areas that nobody ever heard of. It's billions and billions of dollars over budget, years and years, maybe decades late. And that's why we have a country that has a lot of problems, you know. We have incompetent people. It's all people. Think of this, Federal Reserve, I would have had that building done for $25 million. I would have, if I did it, it was up to, somebody else would have done it for more. So maybe 50. But you could have done that building, if it was properly done and planned, you would have done that building for, I would have done it, for $25 million, and it would be better it would be better. See this pen right here? This pen is an interesting example. It's the same thing. So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well. I like it. But I can't have the pen the way it was. You know what it is. I don't want to give too much publicity, but they do treat me well. Sharpie. So I came here, they have $1,000 pens. And you know, you hand pens out, you're signing and you hand them out, you're handing them to all these people. Sometimes you have 30, 40 people. And they were $1,000 a piece. Beautiful pen, ballpoint. 1,000, it was gold, silver, gorgeous. But I'm handing out to kids that don't even know what they're doing. What is this, Mommy? It's kids. They're getting a pen for $1,000. They have no idea what it is. And I feel guilty because I'm like, you know, I'm by nature, I don't, you know, it's the government. I love the government like I love myself economically. I want to save money. So I'm saying, this is crazy. And it had another problem. They didn't write well. So I take it out and I saw it and there's no ink. And I got all you people looking and you say, there must be something wrong with Trump. And I'm signing and there's no ink in the pen and it costs $1,000. This one, I called the guy. I said, I'd like to use your pen, but I can't have a gray thing with a big S on it saying Sharpie. As I'm signing a $1 trillion airplane contract to buy brand new fighter jets, brand new B-2 bombers, of which we just ordered plenty. I can't do that with the press. Use your pen, but I like the pen the best, but I'll sign it. I could do like Biden did, you know? Give it to somebody else to sign, or an auto pen, or maybe sign it separately in another room, but I can't use your pen. He said, well, I can make it nicer. I said, what can you do? He said, I'll paint it black. I said, that's nice. And I can even paint the White House on it, sir, if you like, in gold. Almost real gold, not bad. And I can even do your signature, sir. And by the way, this was not staged. I just saw the pen sit there. I thought of this as an example of how $25 million spent by me at the Federal Reserve Building would be a better job than $4 billion that they're spending. And you know, one of the things that Kevin Warsh told me, he said they ripped down the nicest building. I don't know what building they're talking about. They ripped down a building, Scott, right? Kevin Warsh said it's the most beautiful building in Washington. He said the most beautiful space. They ripped it down. Why did they do that? I don't know. Do you know what he's talking about? Is it true?
Yes, sir.
They ripped it down. We have a moron at the Fed. Who wouldn't be lowering interest rates right now? But I want to thank Janine Pirro and Pam and her group for having the courage to bring this suit. And I believe that the contractor on that job is probably one of the richest men in the country right now. I believe that it's not possible to spend that kind of money. $3 billion, $4 billion, nobody knows, nobody has any idea what it is. But it's over $3 billion, and it's probably going to be over $4 billion by the time they finish. And it may never get finished. Unless I take it over, I'll get it finished. But it can never be what it was. It's never going to have those beautiful ceilings. It's never going to have those incredible walls. The walls were 1.5 feet thick of solid masonry. They ripped them down for no reason. And I just give you the story. And just to finish on this one, so I told that story to somebody and said, yeah, but it's not the same thing. I said, you're right. This one is better. It writes. So the guy said to me, you don't have to pay me, sir. I'll give them to you for nothing. I said, no, I don't want that. Let me pay you. I want to pay you. No, sir, you don't have to. You're the President of the United States. He was shocked. The head of Sharpie gets a call. I don't even know who the hell he is. He said, is this really the President? He said, no, you don't have to pay me, sir. This is such an honor. I said, nope, I want to pay you. And he said, what would you like to pay? I said, how about $5 a pen? He said, that's all right, whatever the hell we agreed to. Peanuts. As opposed to 1,000. And these were $1,000 pens. And we were giving them out. Sometimes, you know, you were there for signings. I'd have 30, 40 people standing behind me. I'd give out 40 pens to people. Then somebody would say, could I have a couple extra? This way I'd go like this. Here, you want 5? Here, take 5. But the bottom line is, they're better pens. It's a business story. So for $5, could be 0, but for $5, I get a much better pen than for $1,000.